Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Beyond Overeating podcast by Wholesome Lifestyle Project. My name's Stell, your host, and today I have a very special guest with me chatting to us about nutritional supplementation during recovery and the benefits of working with a qualified practitioner so that you can individualize this for you if you were considering supplementation in recovery. So, welcome, Julia. So nice to have you here.
Thank you, Stel. Thanks so much for having me. I've been really looking forward to this conversation.
Excellent. So, Julia is a a nutritionist, and she runs Wellbeing with Julia. And this is a business dedicated to helping busy professional people to create their best health. As a qualified natural health practitioner with over 20 years of experience, Julia combines natural and herbal medicine expertise with an understanding of human behavior to guide people towards the health and goals they are aiming for. Working for many years in a corporate setting, Julia had her own health setbacks managing long term stress, insomnia, and the impact that it had on her life and wellness. She now finds her passion through helping others going through the same. Oh, that is just beautiful. Thank you, Julia, for being here today. I'm excited to get into this topic because I think a lot of people want to know more about this, or if they not sure where to start, I think this conversation is really going to just set them on the right path. So thank you for joining me once again.
Absolute pleasure. And I agree. I think, nutrition and supplementation can be a real minefield if you're really not sure what you're looking for.
Yeah, so true. So did you want to just let's start off with just hearing a little bit more about you. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into wellness coaching and nutrition.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. And just hearing you read my biography there makes me a little nervous about thinking of my age. So it is 20 years I've been a qualified naturopath, but even prior to that, I was a uni student in the UK, so in the early 90s. So just realizing we've just ticked into 30 years now. So I was studying health science with a major in psychology, and I think it was in my third year, I was asked to write a paper on eating disorders and specifically emotional eating. So, I went away and did my research. It was a particularly personal subject for me because I battled with my own yo-yoing weight. Particularly after some disordered eating, I'd gained a lot of weight quite quickly and then sort of, did the restricted eating, which wasn't a particularly healthy way of going about things. So, it was really important to me to do this subject. And in the reading that I did, I kept coming across interesting research, which at the time, I guess, was in its infancy around nutritional supplementation and, things like meditation and, the importance of yoga for managing stress and aromatherapy and all this fascinating research, which I then started to put into my papers. And I got quickly slapped on the wrist for that and told to, stick to this. The science at the time was very much about, researching, labs with mice and pigeons and that sort of thing. So I had to stick to the classics in order to get through the degree, which was fine. But because I discovered this area that just fascinated me, I kept, reading and just applying that learning to my own health. And, I found that it really helped me. I found that, essential oils, for example, were really helpful in helping me to focus when I was studying. And I found that yoga helped to keep me sane. So as a recoverer myself, it was really important to me to know that there was something I could do for my own health.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love that. Yoga, it has got so many benefits, but if I can't fit in yoga, then I usually have a bottle of essential oil that's going to just help me feel
Mm.
just a little bit better, whether it's I need a little bit more of energy or whether I just need to like calm down. So yeah, I love that you really appreciate the more natural ways of being as well. Because I think nowadays we do have a lot of chemical and short, you know, quick fix solutions in, there's a pill for this and there's a drug for that. And, like if you do this, then everything, your problems will go away. But it is more that natural, holistic way of doing things that will get us the furthest.
Yeah, totally. We're a complex organism.
Yeah, yeah. So, how did you know you wanted to be a naturopath then after this discovery?
Yeah, I think it was the idea really that there were other solutions to health, which, I don't see as a complete solution in itself. The orthodox medical routes, the traditional medicine, going to see a doctor when you've got an acute illness, um, the normal medical route is absolutely crucial to our health and well-being. Antibiotics have saved hundreds of thousands, millions of lives. So that stream of medicine is absolutely crucial to our existence. But, I really saw that there were these other ways that people could, I guess, remain healthy until they needed that acute medicine, which, our orthodox medicine is so good at. So like I said, I grew up in the UK, but then, traveled the world for a few years and eventually brought my backpack to Australia. At the time, I didn't realise that Australia was so well known for its forward thinking in naturopathy. So I was quite fortunate while I was living in Melbourne that, I ended up enrolled in the naturopathy and nutrition course. So I feel really grateful for having found that. And yeah, I really do feel that when we practice natural medicine, it's a way of truly coaching someone in their health journey and empowering them to, take an active role in their health. And I think that gives them really long-term ways of living rather than, as you said, that quick fix that, so many people feel they're looking for.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
beautiful. I love that. And I love
mm.
that you found your way to Australia.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. I can't imagine
it's-
where I would be if I hadn't.
yeah, yeah, no, coming here 5 years ago or so, just like I'm just so grateful for having found Australia and just found Melbourne and as yeah, such just a beautiful place. So, and you're right, they are. There's so many modalities in the more natural health too. That's just so open and available here. It's just so easy to learn about it, or actually, if you were passionate about it, to actually take on. And become qualified in something like that. So
Mm, absolutely. I found when I first started studying naturopathy that I would tell my friends and family in the UK my big plans, and they'd say naturopath. Don't know that word, and it really took a while, and now it's different. But that was 20 years ago. But Australia was definitely at the forefront then, and I think still is.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, I know you mentioned to me before in some of our chats that you had quite a bit of work in the fitness industry. Did you want to tell us a little bit of your experience in that industry?
Yeah, so I guess there's two real points in time where I've been involved with the fitness industry. The first was in the UK. I was a manager in a health club called David Lloyd. So we had tennis courts, badminton, squash, all of that. It was a very family place with a gym, with pools, with the classes and really the whole fitness realm, and it was a really fun place to work. So my role was in member relations. So I was very much involved with understanding how people created their habits around health and fitness and keeping them inspired and engaged with the club so that they could reach their health goals. But then I also became a personal trainer. So, that was a lot of fun from a personal level as well. I mostly worked with older adults in their personal training. They were amazing, so inspiring, my oldest member there was 93 years old.
Oh my
We had,
goodness.
yeah, I know, he was just wonderful, and he was really part of the community. So,
Oh,
that
lovely.
was, yeah, that was a great time. And then when I came back to Australia in 2006, I came to Perth, where I still am, and I worked as a sports nutritionist for a nutrition company who were importing sports nutrition products. And I became one of their nutritionists, doing consultations and also helping them with choosing products to import, and which ones were on trend and would really work well. So I was working there with clients wanting to maximize their training plans using nutrition to support what they were doing in the gym. So it was quite specialized. I worked a lot with quite elite athletes, so those bodybuilders and fitness models that were competing. So yeah, quite a high level sport, very specific. They really know their stuff, those guys.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. And you just see them on stage, and it just really looks like everything of them has to kind of just be pristine in nutrition and their fitness and everything else. So, would you say there is, if someone is in that fitness industry and they are competing, um, and that environment can be quite competitive. So, would you say that there's um, body shaming that happens in that industry, or just ways where people kind of pull themselves down if they don't look a certain way?
Yeah, yeah, it's a like you said, it's a very competitive industry, and I think it it can certainly play on people's emotions. I'm sure you've come across Brené Brown. I love her work, and her definition of shame is the intensely painful feeling or experience of believing we are flawed and
Mm,
therefore unworthy of acceptance and belonging. And I think with that in mind, I'd say it's a really complex answer because it depends where you look in the industry. If you think of the marketing of gyms at the moment, particularly at the start of the year, they're really trying to motivate people to join the gym.
mm,
And that motivation can sometimes be through triggering that sense of shame, triggering, how you look now and how you should be looking, or what ideal you should be fitting into. So I think
yes.
in that sense, there's definitely shame being influenced or used. Specifically in the bodybuilding and fitness model group, I think what I experienced is people who were, very focused on what they needed to do, but also part of a community. And I think when you're successful in what you're doing in that community, you can almost be revered. You're admired for having achieved what you've achieved, and so there is this sense of acceptance and belonging. So in that sense, there's not the shame once you're, performing well and looking the way that everyone in that business looks.
Mm,
But then I think the shame probably comes in terms of fear of potential shame. If I
mm,
let go of where I am now, my current physique stops being, then am I also going to lose that acceptance? Am I also going to lose that ability to be a part of this community? And, you know, where does my identity fit in with that? Does my identity then change because I'm no longer, this body that is so much a part of who I am currently? And I've certainly worked with individuals, and I'm assuming you might have too in your work, where they've, been very successful in achieving a certain physique, but then for various reasons, it might be, work, family, it's hard to maintain a 4-hour training routine every day when
mm.
you're, running a business or having a baby. So when people make those changes and, you know, do lose that physique, it can be really, it can be a trigger for disordered eating. And yeah, I'd be interested if you've heard the same.
Yes, absolutely. And many of my clients are, still in the fitness industry, or they've recently left. And because of that highly restrictive eating plan and the set rules on what you eat and when you eat and how much you eat, and you know, um, that unfortunately can backfire into unwanted eating behaviors. So a lot of them do struggle with their eating behaviors, but I find that their level of body acceptance and body judgment is extremely high. And
Mm,
that's where our work is to just bring that back into, you know, your body is amazing no matter what it looks like on the outside, you know, like
mm,
we need to almost retrain that thinking, because the minute and I was the same, I felt if my body wasn't a certain size, then I was seen as a failure, or I was seen as someone who struggles, you know, like
mm,
I don't know where that word struggles came from, but I always thought, you know, if I saw someone who has gained a bit of weight, I'd be like, oh, they must be struggling. So
mm.
I
Yeah,
just don't
yeah,
know where but that's my, you know, my paradigm that I built for myself is, you know, that if I'm not looking perfect, then my rest of my world is not perfect either. So yeah,
mm,
I do see that quite a bit, from that perspective. And it is about rebuilding just the relationship with food, getting that into a normal pattern, um, and then working a lot on that, you know, self-esteem as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I think it's not exclusive to women either. I have a
Mm.
male client at the moment who, used to fit into that category of, training frequently and very restrictive on his eating style. And now as a family man with, a business to run and a busy life, he doesn't have all of that time to dedicate just to himself.
Mm.
He comes home from work and he's handed a small child. So,
Okay.
life changes, and,
Yeah.
our physique will change alongside of that at some point. But like you said, he still wants to see himself as that strong man, as that, that attractive look that he felt he had then. So, it really is about accepting ourselves where we are, while still, doing what we can to be healthy.
Yes, yeah. I
Mm.
think that's quite a hard one, because a lot of times what happens is then they like, well, um, I can't look that way, so I might as well just binge, or you know, might as well
Mm,
just let
mm.
go completely. And then
Yeah.
like, you know, that's the perfectionist mindset. I'm not perfect at my um, you know, fitness career, so now I'm gonna just let it go. It's all or nothing
Yeah.
mentality.
Our brains are so good at that, aren't they?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. I can laugh about it because I've experienced it like so much. If I wasn't on a diet, then I was 100% off it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Perfectionism can sometimes be the enemy.
oh my gosh, yeah, definitely. So, let's talk about supplements and supplementation. So, why would someone consider a health supplement as part of their recovery?
Yeah, great question. I think, there are so many reasons why we might think about supplementation. And as I said in the Facebook Live, we know that there are over 70% of Australians using natural medicine. So it absolutely is a big thing that people look at. And when I say natural medicines and supplements, I mean vitamins, minerals, herbal medicines, protein powders, all of those things fit into that category. And I think it's there's so many reasons why we might consider supplements in general in health. Help with our sleep, help with managing stress. There are certain nutritional depletions that can occur, particularly if we're experiencing binge eating and purging. If we're restricting our intake, we might see things like diminished calcium stores. We might see depleted iron levels. We might even see disordered gut health. Particularly the absorption of nutrients through the gut can be impacted by, um, changes in the way that we use our digestive tract, particularly binging and purging can impact that. So there's so many reasons, even electrolyte imbalances. If we change the ratio of magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium, that can really impact our nutritional health and therefore our brain health and the way our muscles and our body work. So many reasons why supplements can be helpful. I think it's probably really good to mention here that the very best source of nutrition, in my view, is a whole food diet. So, getting your nutrition from food is absolutely the best outcome. Food is so much more than fuel. When we think of food, we might think of it in the macronutrients, the protein, fats, and carbs. And of course, we do get that, but we also get a host of micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, even phytochemicals, the plant chemicals, which our bodies then use for all of these many processes that go on in each cell of the body. So, supplements are exactly that. And I always say to people, the word supplement means extra. It's the gap filler, if you like. And it's really important to remember that. But we might need that gap filler in certain situations. So situations where we are depleted, then you simply can't get enough iron from your diet to replenish your iron stores. You can't get enough calcium from your diet if you've got really depleted calcium. So there's lots of reasons why supplementation might be useful. Interestingly, I was reading some research around the benefits of multivitamins recently, and of all the research, the jury really is out in terms of are multivitamins good for us. There's some research that shows chronic disease is reduced, particularly for men, not so much for women, but then other research denies that. So when we really drill down to it though, and we look at who is getting the benefits and where those groups are, it is really people who have restricted diets, where supplementation can help the most. So, a restricted diet might be, for health reasons such as gluten-free diets, or vegan diets, vegetarian diets. These can be, because they are restricted in the types of foods you're eating, there can be certain mineral and vitamin deficiencies that occur. Even in changes in life, such as pregnancy, when we're elderly, we have a different nutritional need. And that's really where nutritional supplementation can be of most benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched on a very important point. And if anyone is listening, supplements are just supplements. And, I've had some of my clients, so scared of the calorie content in supplements that they would just use supplements on its own as a meal. And, or, for example, and I'm not talking a protein shake here, they were just drinking like vitamins as an actual meal. And unfortunately, your body still needs food to sustain it. So I love that you mentioned that, we get a lot of those nutrients and minerals and vitamins from our food. So it is good to combine the two instead of just substituting the one. And I know life gets busy, and sometimes a shake or something sounds, oh, it's just more convenient, but you need to look at weigh up the benefits that you would get from rather eating the food, and possibly then have the shake as just as a top up or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you think about even a nutrient such as vitamin C, yes, you can get 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C from a chewable tablet. That's great. But what the orange provides is so much more than the vitamin C. It's got bioflavonoids, it's got fiber, it's got all of this other stuff in there that is nourishing you. And when our body is hungry, we're actually hungry for that whole thing. We're not hungry just for the vitamin C. So, it's nature provides our nutrients in a package that it's meant to be consumed in. So, I think it's really important to remember that whole food really needs to be the basis of what we do.
But you're absolutely right. And there's even an emotional need that gets satisfied through eating foods, and especially things like oranges. They smell so good. They, just remind you of like happy times. For me, usually, it's really uplifting when you eat a fruit like that, or, in most foods, which you're not going to get from, swallowing a supplement, or, it's not the same emotional satisfaction that you would get.
Definitely, definitely agree.
So, can we just buy supplements from the supermarket? Are they, or, where should we look for these? Are they all the same? There's just like, if you go into, even some of these bigger health food stores, there's just so many different brands and so many different types. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it is that it's even confusing for someone who really knows what they're looking for, if I'm absolutely honest. Um, so I was really fortunate, and this is probably a good point of transparency, that I worked for a company called Metagenics for 13 years, and Metagenics is one of the country's leading manufacturers of natural medicine. And complete transparency, I don't have any association with them anymore. But what it did give me was a really valuable insight into how good quality natural medicines are produced, and really what goes on into making them effective, to making sure that the ingredients are the right ingredients, are the best choices, and that it's going to be, an effective product for the people it's designed for. So the one thing I can say that's important to look for in terms of quality is what's called an OST-L number. So the TGA, the Therapeutic Goods Association in Australia, or the FDA, if this is going to American listeners as well, will have a number on the product that indicates to you that this has been checked through the TGA in terms of does it match evidence? So anything that's written on the label, so if it says this product can help with anxiety, then there'll have to be evidence supplied that supports that claim. So that's one really good thing that happens in Australia. So medicines with those numbers, and it might be OST-L, OST-R. I can show you a couple if you like. I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the screen, but I found this in my fridge. You can see at the bottom there, it has an OST-L number. You might not be able
Okay,
to see it so
beautiful. I've
well.
never
That
actually
one's actually,
noticed, thought of looking for that. So,
yeah, it's interesting. And this one has one right on the bottom there. So
oh,
yeah,
okay, wow.
that's a giveaway that it's a medicine that has been, checked through the uh, TGA, and it's listed on the Australian Register of Therapeutic Goods. They're also on, things like Panadol and Nurofen. So, they go through the same level of quality control and quality checking. So I think that's important. I mean, obviously everyone makes up their own mind, but for me, that check as far as quality goes is a good one. Um, Interestingly, you won't find those numbers on things like protein powders, because they fall under the category of food. So they don't have to go through that rigorous process with the TGA. But in my mind, if I buy a protein powder that's produced by a natural medicine company that makes something that has OSTELs on it, then that also tells me that their protein powders are going to be a good quality as well. So yeah, we're talking about medicines here, and they're not all the same. It's really important to choose a good one. There can be a big difference even in the type. So, for example, magnesium. If you take a magnesium oxide, that will give you a very different outcome to a magnesium orotate or bisglycinate. So again, the form of the nutrients can really impact how well it's absorbed, and you could really be wasting your money if it's not going to be bioavailable or not absorbed well.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, I've just learned something new, and I'll be checking those labels.
you'll go and have a look in your cupboard, won't you?
I am. I use magnesium a lot to support me through my migraines, and it's, yeah, that's really been a super help for me. So I do understand the benefits of taking that and having a good quality one um, just makes all the difference. And you can't just take any magnesium off the shelf. You need to understand which one is going to give you what benefits. And
Mm.
yeah, with that, you need a bit of advice, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it is tricky. And I certainly recommend that people do seek the advice of a qualified health practitioner. That is the best way to know that you're not only getting a quality product recommendation, but also getting the right advice as to, the dose to take, when to take it, for how long you'll need it. You may not need it for a long time. You may need it for a couple of months, and then something else might be ideal for you.
Yeah,
Mm.
such a good point. Um, and so how do I know that which supplements might be would help me? And would how would I know that something is maybe a waste of time or money?
Yeah, really good question. I might tell you a little story here if that's okay.
Yeah,
I
no,
was
that's good.
we were talking at the beginning about going to the hairdressers, and the last time I was at the hairdressers, which is a while ago, I was, sitting a couple of seats away because now they have the block between us with COVID. But I could hear the conversation, happening over there. And it was a lady sort of in her 50s having her hair done, lovely young guy who's, really good at what he does. He's sort of 25 and he was doing her hair, and they were having a chat. And she said, oh, I've just been so flat in energy. I haven't really been able to motivate myself. And he started telling her about this health supplement he'd been taking. It was a powder, and he talked to her about what it was doing for him. And she's writing it down and she's looking on websites, and they're getting really into this conversation. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my God. I mean, he's really well meaning. He's a lovely guy, and I know that he would only be recommending this because he's had good results with it. But it's, going back to the conversation we had at the start about we're all unique individuals. And, that lady isn't a 25-year-old guy.
Mm.
She's a perimenopausal woman with an entirely different physiology to him, an entirely different nutritional need to him. And although his recommendation may have been very, very well meaning, I think she could have been wasting her money on that product. And not only wasting her money, but then having a mindset of, well, this natural medicine stuff just doesn't work. He said
Mm.
it worked for him, but it's rubbish. It doesn't work. And I think that's really the danger of not getting qualified advice, because we are all unique.
Yeah.
And your health practitioner is going to maybe run some tests on you. They're going to get to know your unique situation, your set of symptoms, your medical history, your family history, and all of these things have an impact on what you're experiencing right now. And that advice is also maybe going to change. So that's another reason to, not just have one session with that person, but then go back to them and, kind of go, okay, now this is what's happening for me. Is it
Mm.
different, or should I still be doing the same sort of thing? So, that we are a unique organism, and our needs change from time to time. So I
Yeah.
think really seeking the advice of a qualified health practitioner. And, there are some great, functional medicine GPs now who are amazing people that really know their nutrition and really want to, recommend nutritional medicine in alignment with their normal medicine. There are naturopaths, nutritionists, great dietitians, awesome practitioners out there, some chiropractors who are also trained, some pharmacists who are also trained in natural medicine. So, there's a wealth of people out there that you can get advice from. But I think it's really important to do that, and not just to follow those Instagram influencers who, again, are well-meaning, and some of them, do have qualifications as well. But it's really good to be discerning and, ask the question, are they qualified? Is this the right
Mm.
person for me to take this advice from?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think it is still something we ingest. So we need to take that responsibility and get all the information, be informed, and make sure that the source of the information knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
because even though it's a supplement, we could still be creating other imbalances if it's an uninformed decision and we just, popping pills for the sake of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And if I can share a little analogy that I sometimes say to patients, and I've often mentioned to my mum, would you take advice on your tax from, the guy that fixes your car, or would you go to an accountant? So, it's choosing the right person for
Yeah.
the question.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah,
yeah,
thank you so much for sharing all that because I think that is something we confronted with every day. If you see any ads, it's, often promoting supplements or health products. And I think it is just for us to make informed decisions and to get the assistance from people who have, specialized in those fields and they know what
yeah.
they're talking about.
Absolutely. And I'll provide for you a couple of links if you like, that where people can go to find a natural health practitioner who's qualified. And of course, my details will be there as well. And I'm happy to, answer any questions or put people in touch with practitioners local to them as well.
Beautiful, thank you. And I
Yeah.
know you mentioned just before the interview that you will be providing everyone with a little guide to see, just to guide them through the process as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that can be downloaded.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so I'll pop all of that into the show notes. But did you want to just tell us one way in which you like to appreciate your body?
Wow. I think I mentioned yoga in the conversation earlier, and yoga is still something that I do now. I think that does give me the days where I do find time in the morning to do my yoga is sort of it's my movement to start the day, but it's also a bit of a mindset for me. It's that time to just chill, take a bit of time to appreciate me and really feel good. I broke my foot about a year ago and I couldn't do yoga I was on crutches for about 16 weeks. And I think if we were to ask Nathan, he would say I was a bit of a nightmare to live with. It's definitely, that thing that grounds me and makes me feel good in my body and my mind. And the other thing I think is nature. I'm a big lover of being in nature. I'm very lucky that I spend quite a lot of time in the southwest of WA, hiking and just appreciating the forest down there. It really is. I feel like when we talk in psychology about the core human needs, I think they miss that one. I think being in nature should be considered a core human need.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose it will form part of the bottom one where it's the safety, the feeling of groundedness and peace. So-
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, well, thank you so much, Julia, for all your wisdom and just all your knowledge. And I'm sure everyone will really get a lot out of listening to this episode. But where can everyone come find you if they wanted to know more about what you do and or just where you hang out?
Yeah, of course. So you can email me at hello@beingwellcoaching.com. My website is beingwellcoaching.com, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well. And we can give you the links to pop in the show notes.
Excellent. Yes, we'll pop all of those in. So pop into the show notes, come and download Julia's guide and check out where you can find a professional that's going to help you with your supplementation choices and needs. And yeah, thank you so much, Julia, for being on the show. It's been such a privilege to have you.
Thank you so much, Stella. And it was an absolute privilege to be here. I love what you're doing. I think it's wonderful to build community that really need your support. So keep up the good work.
Ah, thank you so much. So, for those of you who have tuned in, thank you so much. As always, please make sure to like and subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with anyone who needs it. Otherwise, hopefully see you in the next episode, or feel free to go back to some of my previous episodes if you have just joined this show. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.